There are 7 types of watch collectors, and you are one of them. You think you are the reasonable one. You just appreciate good engineering. You are not like the guy with 40 watches sitting in a drawer he never opens. We will get to that guy. He is number 7, and it is going to sting. But every person watching has a tell. One behavior that gives the whole thing away. From the purist who swears one watch is enough, to the flipper who never owns anything, here are the 7 types of watch collectors and which one is secretly you. Number 1. The One-Watch Purist. This is the most relatable type, which is exactly why we are starting here and exactly why it stings a little. The One-Watch Purist has found the one. A single perfect daily wearer. Maybe it is a steel Rolex Datejust, maybe it is a simple field watch on a worn leather strap, maybe it is something his grandfather left him. Whatever it is, he wears it every day, and he genuinely believes that is the entire point. And here is his tell. At some point, usually at dinner, usually to someone who did not ask, he will say the line, "You only need one good watch." He says it the way other people talk about meditation. Calm, a little smug. Like he has reached a level of enlightenment the rest of us with our watch boxes and our browser tabs full of listings simply cannot understand. He will tell you he does not get the obsession, that he has more important things to think about, and he will say it while wearing the single most carefully chosen watch in the entire room. Now, the part the purist does not want to hear. About half of them quietly cave within a year. The one perfect watch turns into a backup for the weekend, then a beater for the gym, and suddenly there is a second box on the dresser and a story about how this one is different. It does not count, it serves a different purpose. But the other half are actually right. They wear one watch, they love it, they sleep fine at night, and they never think about any of this again. And everyone else resents them for it because they figured out the thing the rest of us are still spending thousands of dollars trying to learn. So if that is you, congratulations. And also, nobody likes you. Speaking of people who overthink watches. Number 2, the Spec Obsessive. If the purist barely thinks about watches, the Spec Obsessive thinks about nothing else and somehow still ends up enjoying them less. This is the collector who buys on paper. Movement first. Power reserve, beat rate, whether it is chronometer certified, whether the caliber is in-house or sourced from somebody else. He can tell you the exact reserve down to the hour. He knows the watch runs at 28,800 beats an hour. He has opinions about silicone hairsprings that he is dying to share. His tell is impossible to miss. You make the mistake of complimenting his watch, and instead of saying thank you, he starts explaining the escapement to you, unprompted. There you are, just trying to say nice watch. And now you are 40 seconds into a lecture about lever geometry, and you're not totally sure how you got here. And look, the knowledge is real. This guy understands what is happening inside that case better than anyone in the room. But here is the quiet tragedy of the Spec Obsessive. He knows everything about watches except how to actually enjoy one. The watch does not live on his wrist. It lives in a winder, getting protected. He does not wear his watches so much as he studies them. He has turned a hobby that is supposed to feel like joy into a spreadsheet. He could finally buy the watch he has been researching for 2 years, strap it on, and within a week, he would be 3 tabs deep on the next one. And the wild part is, he is usually the smartest collector in the group, and easily the least happy about it. Before we keep going, quick thing. If you are recognizing yourself so far, or worse, recognizing a friend you are absolutely going to send this to, do me a favor and hit subscribe. We break down watch culture like this every single week. And trust me, the next 5 types get progressively harder to deny. Especially the next one, because almost everyone has been him at least once. Number 3, the flipper. The flipper does not collect watches. The flipper trades them. At any given moment, roughly half of his collection is quietly for sale, and the other half is being photographed for the listing he is about to post. Watches come in, watches go out, and the spreadsheet, because of course there is a spreadsheet, tracks every gain and every loss like a tiny personal hedge fund strapped to his wrist. His tell is brutal, so brace yourself. Remember that watch? The Grail. The one he talked about for years. The one he finally tracked down and posted with a caption about how the hunt was over. He owned it for about 6 weeks. Then it was gone, sold to fund the next thing, the next deal, the next watch that was definitely going to be the one. The Grail had a shelf life of a month and a half. And the flipper will tell you, he is being smart. He is staying liquid. He is playing the market. He never loses money. Sometimes that is even true. But here's what the flipper never says out loud. He has been doing this for years, and he has never actually owned anything. He has had hundreds of incredible watches pass across his desk, and he cannot point to a single one and say, that one is mine, that one is staying. He is so addicted to the chase that he forgot the whole point was to catch something and keep it. The deal became the hobby. The watch became a receipt. Which brings us to a collector who at least keeps what he buys, even if he has no idea why he bought it. Number 4. The hype chaser, also known, depending on how mean you are feeling, as the hype beast. This is the collector whose entire taste is outsourced to the internet. He does not buy what he loves. He buys what is hot. Whatever the algorithm is pushing, whatever has a 2-year waitlist, whatever every watch account on his feed posted in the same week, that is what he wants, and that is what he gets. Usually at a markup that would make a grown man cry. He paid double retail, waited in line, refreshed the page at midnight, and he will defend that decision to the grave. His tell is almost too easy. You look at his wrist and you are looking at a time capsule. He owns the exact piece everyone was losing their minds over about a year ago. Not the watch that defined the last decade. The watch that defined last spring. Open his box and you can read it like tree rings. Here is the green dial phase. Here is the integrated bracelet sports watch phase. Here is the month a celebrity wore something, and the whole internet decided that was the move. And there is nothing wrong with liking popular watches. Popular usually means good. But here's the uncomfortable truth about the hype chaser. His collection is not a reflection of his taste. It is a timeline of internet trends. If you lined his watches up by purchase date, you would not learn a single thing about who he is. You would just learn what was trending that quarter. He let 1,000 strangers with cameras decide what he likes. And the scary part is, he is not even sure what he would have picked on his own. At least our next collector picked a side and committed. Number 5. The Brand Loyalist. This one is all in on a single brand, and I mean all in. Every watch he owns shares the same logo on the dial. His collection is less a collection than a shrine. Walk up to him at a watch meetup and you can guess his entire box from the first piece on his wrist, because the second, third, and fourth are just variations on the same crown. His tell shows up the second you suggest anything outside the family. Mention a brand he does not collect, even casually, even a genuinely great one, and watch his face do a little thing. A flicker. Like you just insulted a member of his household. He will explain patiently why that other brand is overrated, overpriced, or simply not for serious people, and he will do it with the total confidence of a man who has never once seriously considered the alternative. And loyalty is not a bad thing. It usually starts as real taste. He found a brand that genuinely fits him, that does the things he cares about, and he leaned in. The problem is, what happens next? Over the years, that taste hardens into a blind spot. He stops evaluating watches and starts defending a team. He cannot tell you anymore whether he actually loves every piece he owns, or whether he just loves the logo and bought accordingly. Somewhere along the way, appreciating one brand turned into being unable to see any other. He picked a favorite, then he picked an enemy, and he will die on that hill at every dinner party he gets invited to. And speaking of collectors who refuse to move on, wait until you meet the next one. Number 6. The Vintage Purist. We are getting into the extremes now. The Vintage Purist believes watchmaking peaked sometime before he was born and has been going downhill ever since. Modern watches are too big, too shiny, too obsessed with sapphire and ceramic and water resistance nobody needs. He wants faded lume, a little patina, a dial that has aged like it actually lived a life. If it is not old, he is not interested. His tell is a vocabulary thing. Spend 10 minutes with him and you will get the lecture. He will warn you about service dials, about replaced hands, about the dreaded Franken, the watch built from mismatched parts by someone trying to fool you. He talks about originality the way other people talk about national security. Bring a polishing cloth near his vintage diver, and he will physically wince. Every case back is a potential crime scene. Every over-polished lug is a tragedy he takes personally, and honestly, a lot of this is correct. Originality matters, vintage really can be magic, and the old stuff often has a soul the new stuff is still chasing. But this is where the vintage purist loses the plot. He romanticizes the past so hard that he will sit there and defend a watch that loses 10 minutes a day. A watch you have to wind and reset constantly, a watch that hates water and fears the future, and he will look you dead in the eye and tell you it is better than anything made today. Telling time stopped being the point a long time ago. What he is really after is a story, and the story is always set in 1968. Which brings us, finally, to the most dangerous collector of them all. Number 7. The Accumulator. The final type, the most extreme, and statistically, the one most likely to be watching this video right now. The Accumulator buys watches the way other people buy snacks at a gas station, constantly, cheaply, and without a real plan. Nothing too expensive on its own. A micro-brand diver here, a vintage flea market find there, a homage he could not resist because it was 40 bucks and the dial looked kind of cool. Individually, harmless. Collectively, a problem. Ask him how many watches he owns and he will pause, do some quiet math, and land on a number that is comfortably lower than the truth. Because the tell is sitting right there in front of you. Open the drawer, not the watch box, the drawer. The one stuffed with watches still on their original straps. Some with the plastic still on the case back. A few he genuinely forgot he owned. Point at any of them and ask why he bought it, and you will get the same answer every single time. I will get around to wearing that one. He will not. He has said that about the last 30 watches, and they are all still sitting there, brand new, waiting for a rotation day that is never coming. And the Accumulator always has a justification ready. It was a good deal. It was limited. It would have been gone tomorrow. Each purchase on its own makes perfect sense. But step back and look at the drawer as a whole and the truth is impossible to miss. Somewhere along the line, collecting quietly turned into acquiring. The joy stopped being in the wearing and slid entirely into the buying. The little hit of the package arriving, the strap swap, the unboxing. Then it goes in the drawer, the high fades, and he is already browsing for the next one. He does not own 70 watches. 70 watches own a little piece of him. So there they are. The Purist, the Spec Obsessive, the Flipper, the Hype Chaser, the Brand Loyalist, the Vintage Purist, and the Accumulator. 7 types. And if you are sitting there a little uncomfortable because you saw yourself in 2 or 3 of them, good. That means you were paying attention. Almost nobody is purely one of these. You are probably a blend. A little Spec Obsessive with a dangerous Accumulator streak. A recovering Hype Chaser slowly turning into a One-Watch Purist. And the part that actually matters is this. You move through them. Almost everyone starts in the same place, usually as a Hype Chaser or an Accumulator, buying everything, chasing everything. And then slowly, watch by watch, sometimes painful purchase by painful purchase, you figure out what you genuinely love and drift toward the Purist. The arc is the whole hobby. You are somewhere on that line right now, whether you admit it or not. Nobody stays put. The guy roasting the Accumulator today was the Accumulator 3 years ago. So here's the only question that matters. Which one are you today, and which one are you slowly turning into? Drop it in the comments and be honest. And if you already tagged the friend who is very obviously the flipper, even better.